Today I'm going to share with you what actually happened when I tried to protect this young avocado tree and how it drastically failed. Last night we had really heavy wind and frost. So to protect this young avocado tree, I used one of my trellises and covered it with a plastic drop cloth and towels. But as you can see, it failed drastically. I don't know yet how damaged my tree is, or my trellis for that matter, so let's uncover the mess together. This is exactly the kind of situation most gardeners don't plan for. I certainly did it, so let's assess the damage. First off, why did I build it this way? Well, my trellis was pre-built, so it was an easy fix, right? And it was tall enough to cover my poor sad tree. And I thought it would be the perfect substrate so that I could use that to wrap around so my protection when it come into direct contact with my tree, but my tree would still be completely encased. The problem is the material that I used with the trellis became a giant wind cell. I have my house on that side and my shed on this side. So that just funneled wind right through here and knocked the whole thing down. Now, you can probably see lying on the floor here, I have some raw lumber. I used that to support my trellis and hope that I would give it a wider footprint so that way it wouldn't topple. Well, that simply didn't work. Let's see what we would do differently. All right, so I'm going to start by unclamping the material that I have attached to my trellis so that way it'd be easier for me to see what is actually going on in here. I used these large clamps as well as just clothespins and tape because that worked well in the different areas, whether I was clamping directly to the trellis or just clamping the material to itself. You can see here that the trellis came disassembled. It doesn't look like it actually broke, so I'm hopeful most of the damage to the trellis is superficial and easily remedied. The tree, however, doesn't look very good. I'm happy that it kind of popped back up after I removed the weight from it, but I do see a lot of frost damage, particularly to these new ends where new growth would be coming from. I don't know if this is permanent long-term damage or if this is just something that is going to have to get over once this crazy winter is done. So what am I going to do right now? Well, our frost warnings aren't over. We're going to have another one tonight. So I need a different method of protecting this tree. And what I found that works the best is a very simple teepee construction. I'll show you that in just a second. And this is what I mean by the teepee structure. This is a smaller citrus bush that I was easily able to cover by simply planting 3 stakes in a triangular formation and then wrapping it in a towel and connecting it with safety pins. It's easy, it withstands the wind, and it still protects my plant. The reason why this works is because it has a much wider base to a tiny top. So that way when the wind pushes on it, the base, being the widest part, is going to keep it standing upright. And the slanted top is going to allow the wind just to pass right through. So the remedy here was to build a really big teepee. We used those support beams that we had at the base of our trellis and just tied them together with rope and hoped for the best. We actually started with a bungee cord because we thought maybe the wind would allow that movement would be a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. So we went to just straight up rope. Now I need to wrap this all up with my tarp again, and hopefully we'll see an improvement of it lasting the night. All right, our new construction is done. As you can see, even with the wind blowing, this looks and feels a lot more stable than what we had before. It is a heavy-duty construction, and at the base I actually added some pavers that we had used to keep it flush, the covering flush to the ground, but I angled them against the base of the boards in hopes that that helps buffer it against any movement with the wind. I also used tape. This is just painter's tape. It's a painter's tarp. Painter's tape's fine, right? And that covered up any seams and tried to help it so that if the wind caught where it overlaps, it won't rip the whole thing right over. I will continue this progress report with you and show you later on in roughly a month's time how much damage occurred to this tree and if I can revive it. Thank you so much for watching City Steady Plant Life, and I'll see you next time.